Apothecaria. Let the journey begin. Hey there, everyone. I'm Parz with drawingXpressions. Thanks for finding us here on YouTube. As you may have seen in my prior video, I spent a good amount of time talking about creative writing and using a journaling solo roleplay game, or JSRPG, as part of that experience of coming up with a way to be able to write episodically. So the prior video goes into the whys and the wherefores of why we're using this, not so much how, that comes later, but yeah, why we're using this and why we're using the particular one that we are using, Apothecaria. And by we, I'm referring both to myself and to my lovely lady love, Alicia, who brought the game into the house, and we are just in love. So the purpose of this video is to walk you through my first choices on how I got things started, and then subsequent videos after we'll go into the, more of the gameplay itself and what comes from that in my creative writing. Today, it's just going to be the prologue, really. So I'm going to talk about how I got to where I got, and then I'll share the prologue and the location if you want to go back and read it yourself, or with friends and things. And then at the very end, we'll talk about some highlights that come from that. So before I get into all of that, let me first start to walk through my standard intro bits on any video. So the first thing here is that guidelines. Anything that we're talking about here on any video within drawingXpressions, this is all guidelines. These are all ideas. These are things that you can try out if they make sense to you. If they don't make sense, don't do them. And if you've got things that make sense to you and I haven't mentioned it, give her a go, and better yet, shoot me a note, send me an email, drop a comment in the in the chat. Let me know about stuff, because I am not all-knowing, and I love to learn new things. As I said, this video is divided into two parts, the planner and the pantser. The first part, the planner, is what we're going to be going into in just a minute, with the hows I did the intro, or the prologue. And then the pantser is going to be a discussion coming from some of the choices that were made, some of the things that I found, things like that. Okay, and here we go with getting ready now, getting our minds and bodies ready to do some creative things, to think some creative things, mind and body, breathe and stretch. Here we go. Let me invite you to breathe, or take a breathe. Invite you to take a breath in. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing in. Stretch. Just a little stretch. There we go. Okay. I just like to limber up the wrists a little bit, so you can do a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and a little bit of this. There we go. Okay. All right. So let me bring us straight into sharing my screen. Here we go. Apothecaria, my prologue. And what more do you need? That's the thing. So I'll just come back here and start to go through my notes. I hope you can't hear my neighbors yelling at each other in Thai, but if you can, well, that's what's going on. Okay. So again, this is Apothecaria. This is the cover to the materials. It is a solo potion making roleplay game. And again, in the prior video, I talked about the whys and the wherefores for picking this particular one. And let me see now here. Let me just come back to the screen real quick. If you are interested in buying your own copy, that is the URL, and the author is Anna Blackwell. I was ready this time. My last video, I kept stumbling over that one. And let's see now here. Let me come back to the room. Okay, so let's just kind of dive right in and talk about the tools that I used to generate my story. So, and really for all of the episodes that I have written in Apothecaria so far, this is all applicable. So there's the Apothecaria Guidebook, which I won't pull it out, but you look at my last video. We bought the PDF version. We printed it out here. It's in plastic sleeves. And so it's a nice, convenient way to manage the book. And then I can write notes and whatnot because it's all single-sided print. Yeah, so that's just a useful thing. I use a B5 size because I like things a little bit bigger. Alicia uses an A5. She likes it a little bit smaller. It's a little bit easier to handle. Okay, so that's Apothecaria, the guidebook. You need playing cards of some sort. We use tarot cards because playing cards are a controlled gambling item here in Thailand. And so that requires a little bit of an adjustment. You sort of make up some rules and adjustments and things for using tarot. And off you go. What's been written prior? Well, in the introduction, that is nothing. And then your imagination is going to play huge. So I'm just going to come back here real quick and see here. Yeah. So bring that right back. Yeah. So for the prologue, as I said, the guidebook doesn't have much. This is straight from the PDF. Introduction. If you're reading this, I'm probably missing or dead. Let's hope just missing. I wish I could be there to explain all this in person, but life takes unexpected paths. Hopefully this journal will be enough to guide you. So first up, welcome to High Rannoch. It's a nice place, even if the people can be a little disaster prone. You'll be taking my place as village witch, and I'll be responsible for curing them of whatever injuries or diseases they've managed to pick up. Thankfully, curing folk ain't that hard. Mostly just a matter of finding out what's wrong with them and check what reagents work for that. I don't know how much you've been taught before, so don't be insulted if these instructions seem simple. Okay, that's all we have to go on. And we can make a few assumptions about things. But yeah, that's... Where does your mind go when you hear that? I know where mine went. And I'll share that in a minute. Okay. And as I said, what have we written prior? Absolutely nothing. And imagination, let it run wild, because this is its first go into the land of Apothecaria, into the town of High Rannoch, into the life of our witch, or healer, or whatever word you want to use. I'm going to use witch just because it's convenient for me, and I do not get uncomfortable using the word witch. Other people do. And so when you hear me say witch, substitute it in your own head for whatever it is that would make you more comfortable. Okay, so the story, my story, and this is like me, not my witch, is we had the PDF in the house for a little while. And before we started to play, I wanted to have some journals in the house. I didn't have a journal to do my writing in this format. So I read through the book, and it made some sense. There's 60, 70, some odd pages, along with all the little extras and things that come with the materials, the base game. And it was a little bit hard to conceptualize without actually sitting down and playing it and using it. So I got sort of locked in on, let's not worry about what's the next things that can happen, getting the people coming in and finding the things that will heal them and the process for all of that. I just want to focus on the introduction. And where did my mind go? So actually, I'll just pull this up here because I actually am just looking at my notes. So I wanted to have someone who was as new to the experience of being a witch as I was to the experience of writing story using a JSRPG. I therefore wanted someone young and inexperienced. And this was a big thing because young and inexperienced that's like a tabula rasa, right? It's a blank slate. You can do with this person as you will. They're coming in, everything is just amazing and wonderful, or they're seeing things through fresh eyes that other people don't see. And so we can explore a whole bunch of things. And so as I'm exploring and I'm saying, wow, this is kind of cool, she can be saying, and this is a she, it took a little bit before I knew that I had a female witch, not a male witch. And you can debate whether male witches exist or there have to be warlocks or whatever. But I didn't have a gender specified for my young person. So I just tried to write for as long as possible without being forced into making that choice. And eventually I did. I did have to make a choice, and it did end up being female. But that was how I wanted to approach things. If I said wow, I wanted her to say wow. If she said wow, I wanted to be able to say wow. And so that was very helpful in the writing experience. Okay. So young and inexperienced. So that brings us to, how does a young and inexperienced person, how are they able to diagnose ailments? How do they recognize what is wrong with somebody? How do they recognize the things that are going to heal them? Because there's a long list of stuff of ailments. There's a long list of stuff of things that can cure, and the ways that you put things together. How is this person going to brew a potion? And that answer can wait. It doesn't need to get addressed right off the bat. You can easily have a witch show up who's fresh out of witch school, or maybe coming out of retirement, or who knows. I mean, you can have someone who's got lots and lots of experience and lots of reasons to know why things are the way they are and what things are what. I chose to not, which means I've got an open question that I have the option to answer in the way I want to somewhere down the line, or at all. I can just leave that as an open question and not worry about it and just keep moving on. That decision is up to me, because I'm the one who gets to write the story. Okay. Let's come back without hitting the wrong screen. So who then is this person? My first answers didn't include gender, height, weight, I mean, really most personal details. I wanted actions to speak to character and not physical traits. So, and that was the thing, is I want the words, I want the thoughts, I want the actions to really spell out who this person is. I don't want to have it assigned to, oh, they're 5'8", oh, they're so many kilos, oh, they have this color hair or this color eyes, or they tend to wear a particular piece of jewelry. None of that really mattered to me in this moment. And gender is another one of those. I just don't care, and I don't think how it really applies. So why put it in? Let the reader decide that, or let me decide that as I go through the process. Okay, so all that said and done leads me to my prologue. There is the URL. So it all began on Blogger, and I will be pulling that up. right now, actually. So let's get that too. There we go. Okay, so I had everything sort of, I thought about it, and I had some guideposts that I wanted to kind of aim for and shoot for. And then just sort of said, pen to paper, fountain pen to paper. And if you want to know why fountain pen, check the prior video. And this is what came out. So I'm just going to come over here to the screen share again. So it's titled, It All Began. It's not always easy to be the first one in your family to do something. It's even more difficult if it's been a while since anyone in the family has done a first. Then take into account a father who scrimped and saved to send his only child to school while the rest of the family called him a fool for thinking an education was worth anything. Before I set off to the distant city to start my education, Father sat me down, looked me in the eye, and laid it on thick. I'm a man of few words, so I'll keep this short. I've invested my life savings into you and this school. Make me proud. And I hope you'll come back flush with herbal knowledge that will help the entire community. There's nothing for you here worth having, but knowledge will allow you to be something. Now off with you. The cart taking you to the city is just about here. And that was that. What savings that were left after tuition went to paying my way there. I've never been to the city. Heck, I've never been much beyond the house. And now I'm watching the sky, the landscape, even the air change. It's so weird to see so much change day after day. The rhythm of the cart's movement never changed, although the endless bumps and potholes did lessen as we got closer and closer to town. So I use these asterisks mid-page to sort of indicate I'm moving from one point to the next point. Could be a chapter mark. I just use the asterisks as a means to delineate out. So before I move on, let's see now here. I'm gonna come back here real quick. So I changed my voice to be the father, and something that I find to be very helpful in writing things is if you think in the voice of that person, the father voice, the witch's voice, the voices of your individual clients who are coming in, or the people that you're interacting with. If you can think in their voice, it becomes more real to you as the writer. And if it becomes more real to you, it becomes more real on the page and then also to the reader. And so you, as your first reader, hopefully you enjoy it more. Okay. Going back to the story. So here, I'm just going to scroll up. So after I was dropped off at the school, the driver whose name I never learned and who didn't speak at all, but was kind enough to take me to the front door, I was rushed straight to a room and into a seat behind a desk. I wasn't told much besides that I was late, but also just in time. If that was supposed to be some sort of explanation for anything, I didn't get it. An adult, presumably the teacher, took one look at me, grunted, and said to the entire class, "Did I mention there were about 10 kids, all roughly my age? Welcome to herbology and apothecary training. I'm your instructor. Call me Madame Wintergleam. Now we shall learn about the wonders of the natural world and do so from the safety of this schoolroom. Now we'll..." Yes? I just put up my hand. "Will we get to pick herbs and see places and..." "Oh my goodness, no. It's dangerous. A boy died recently, so all classes are now held safely within these walls. And now to begin." And that was that. I tried to pay attention, but I just wasn't able to absorb what was being said. Sit in this room? How boring. At least I'd been able to walk next to the cart from time to time to stretch my legs, and the thought of sitting in a room at home was unthinkable. So my mind wandered, and I got caught. "If you are bored, leave my classroom. Walk, move, do whatever, but do it elsewhere." Shamed, and with the sound of giggles and guffaws, I left, and vowed to not return. Which is how I found myself in High Rannoch, standing on the avenue in front of my now former school, with all my belongings slung over my shoulder, wondering what to do. And my only thought was that outside the city walls there must be an herbalist, a midwife, a wise woman, someone who could teach me in exchange for labor. I'd noticed a path heading off into the woods just before the cart had passed through the city gates. Perhaps that path would lead to my educational salvation. My naivete told me that it was worth a try. Far better, I told myself, than trying to catch a ride back home and admitting failure. It turns out my luck was both with me and against me. The path did eventually lead to what could only be a witch's cottage. It was a very basic dwelling, bare of decoration, but with a certain air of herbs, peace, and healing. I knocked on the door, although I already figured no one was home, given that no smoke was rising from the chimney. The door was unlocked, so I let myself in. A few basic things were next to a work table, like a mortar and pestle, a cauldron over the fire pit, and not much else, except for a book. It was open to the first page, and I must admit that I felt curious, so I started reading. It opened by saying that the witch who owns the cottage isn't here, with no mention of returning. How odd. Which is when there was a knock on the door, which opened right after. A young man walked in with warts all over his lips. Somehow he managed to croak out, "Help me!" And that is the prologue to my Apothecaria story. I just need to wet my whistle. Okay. So that's where we began. Now, the piece of the book that was open and said that the witch wasn't going to be there actually is that little piece that I guess that way, had up on the screen. And so that's it. That's where you start. And this is where my imagination took me. And so I wonder where your imagination will take you. What do you think you would do? How would you write it? What do you think? I really want to know. Okay, but that is for later, for when you write, and then you can let me know it's out there, and you can send me a note or whatever. Okay, I am going to move over to my breathe and stretch, because I like to breathe and stretch between bits and pieces. So here we go. We're going to take a nice deep breath in and stretch. And again, don't overstretch, just a little bit of movement. Good. Okay. Oh, so much better. So it was a short piece, this prologue, this introduction, but it is what I wrote. Now just bring me back to my notes and highlight a few things. So let's come over here. Okay. So I talked about this last time, but the tools I used to write the story was B5 notebook, fountain pens. It was the tiger's eye, which was primarily used. And so that is the actual physical tools that I used. I'm going to bring it back here real quick as I scroll. And I'm just going to come over here real quick. So in the creative process, my personal take on it is you observe, you scribe, you edit. Excuse me. So when I was waiting for my notebooks to show up, just come back here. When I was waiting for my notebooks to show up, I did a lot of observing. How do I feel about this witch? What do I think this person is going to, where are they coming from, and all the things that I was desiring to have them express, and kind of making mental notes, what I thought would be kind of cool. And then when it was time to actually start writing or scribing, so putting the words on the page, oftentimes actually, I should say, oftentimes the ideas ended up on the page, but not always. And sometimes ideas that I had no clue were in my head, they were on the page. And so there they are. This is what the story wants. This is what we're going to go. This is what we're going to do. And then there's a light edit that happens between my writing and Blogger. But for the most part, this is an exercise in observing. So what is it that I want to do? What are the inputs? I've got my guidebook, right? I've got what was written before, and I've got my imagination. So those three things are kind of coming in, and they're kind of tossing things back and forth, and I'm just sort of watching and shooting out ideas and interacting with it. And then when I've observed it to what I think is a degree that I'm ready to go, then I start to scribe. I'll actually write it on the page. Okay, and that is pretty much the process that I use for writing this. Absolutely for the introduction. Okay, so that is the observing, the scribing, and the editing. Okay, so now some things that came out from this particular exercise of writing the prologue. First off, the story, it just flowed out. Things I hadn't intended poured from my pen, surprising me, and I just went with it. So I talked about that one already. Now, taking this a little bit further, this is a prime example of how a story can be viewed as a living thing. It has ideas about how things should be and may insist, with varying degrees of insistence, that things should be included or excluded. And so, if you've seen my some of my prior videos, my prior lives, I do talk about this to some degree, where story is something that is it's living, and you are not always just simply there as a means to make it up out of your own head, as some people have it. But for me, it's like you are interacting with a creative process. So you're part of the creative process. The story's part of the creative process. The guidebooks are part of the creative process. What's been written before, part of the creative process. And it's all just this mix. And then it comes out. And it's not always expected. And that is part of the joy that pantsers experience. Planners, when they are like writing things out and like, I want to have this person be this type of person, and I'm going to make sure that they are from this particular place, and I'm going to make sure that they say this particular thing. I'm going to make sure that they look this particular way, right? You're planning all that in, and then you're just making sure that your words match. I much more prefer the bloop, there it is on the page. It's appeared. I'm just as shocked as anybody else is that here we go. And so that's part of the pantser process. Okay, so as an example of things that popped out, my witch is quite prideful. Yeah, she gets laughed at and she's like, that's it. I'm not attending this school no more. I could have had her turn right around, go back in and get educated for years and just kind of do a quick, many years later, she went to the cottage. I opted not to. We're going to just throw her in, young, inexperienced, and so we are going to handle that in the way that we choose. I'm going to pause for just 1 second. Okay, I'm back. It started raining. I didn't want the sound of the rain to be intruding, although it does sound nice. Okay, so I've got a very prideful witch. And so that's just one element. And this is what I'm talking about. I had not intended for this person to be so headstrong, but it's lovely that she is, because now that just provides avenues of story. What can happen when she's right? What can happen when she's wrong? What happens if she, just all of that stuff. Yeah, so I'm very pleased that she is as headstrong as she is. Now, my start, and I'm just over, let's see now here if actually, it's not going to show up. There, you silly thing, go away. Okay, so this is quite different from Alicia's start, who spent a lot of time thinking about physical attributes, none of which appeared on her pages. Instead, the character decided who she was. Okay, so it just kind of poured out much in the same way it did for me. Now, Alicia is she's a first-time writer, and so she thought, as a first-time writer, that was something you're supposed to do, was character creation, character development, and you make these decisions about who these people are. And so she spent a lot of time plotting about, the different attributes, the sex and height and all that, the physical stuff. And none of it showed up on the page because her character said, no, 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 no. I will make the decision as to who I am and what I look like. Thank you so very much. Your thoughts on the matter don't. Yeah, I'm going to write myself. And so that's sort of another part of Pantser, right? So she's being surprised as story is telling her what it is that it wants to be, despite the fact that she had some ideas about what it is that this person was going to be. The story did it. Okay. Coming back here, so the last couple of notes. We've been going week after week, so our stories, they started off different, and they have become even more so. And this is despite the fact that we're using the same prompts. So just because you've got two people who are sharing the same material, the story, especially if you're writing it long and you are diving deep on different prompts and different parts of the story that you want to highlight, they can be very, very different. There'll be similarities, right? Little touchstones where things go like, oh yeah, okay, I can see where the two of you are the same, and off they go again. And the more that happens, the more differentiated the stories become. And I find that to be just fascinating and really fun. We'll read our stories to each other, and each one of us goes like, wow, that's really cool that you brought that out in your particular story. It's really, really cool. The last piece that I want to highlight here, imagination, is the wild card, because the prompts are the same. And what you've written before, that can always be sort of glossed over, or oh, that was just simply a thing, but it's really this other thing here, and so you can try and make your story match into someone else's story. But in the end, it's your imagination and how it works and the things that you think about and things that are important to you that really come out and highlight and make the story your story. Same for her, and same for you, if you choose to join in. And I invite you to do that. So I've done with the Pantser section, so let me just highlight real quick here. Yeah, that it would be lovely if when you're watching this and you're like, hey, this is something that I could really get into, go ahead and do like a blogger or some other type of social media type of thing where you can do the long form writing. Blogs are great because you can just go and you can put photos in or whatever, make them pretty. And yeah, we can read each other's stuff and just see what we're all doing. Read the different stories and just how different they can be. Okay, so that covers my prologue. Let the adventure begin. So let me start to wrap things up here. First off, by bringing up, here we go, the drawingXpressions haiku, the final line. It goes, a creative space, holistically supportive, please like, share, subscribe. And yeah, if you've made it this far, please give it a like. Please share it with someone that you think might enjoy joining in with the Apothecaria journey. Please subscribe. And we'd love to have you. Okay. And so, as I was saying, if you do choose to share on social media, let me know it's out there. I am on Facebook and I am on Instagram, Parz. So give me a look. Look me up and let me know what's out there. Also, you can check out my Linktree, and you can get a hold of me a number of ways that way, and also through the drawingXpressions Linktree. And both of those Linktree links are in the show notes. So with that, I will let you go. Say thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're going to enjoy the experience as much as I intend to enjoy the experience of sharing with you each week, or 2 weeks, these videos. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the passion, and I hope that you get into it too. With all that said, I'll just close it out for now, and I'll see you next time.